Hey everybody, how you doing? Can everybody hear me? I've been changing my rig every time I come on here, so I'm never 100% sure if you can. Um, so we're back. I'm just going to assume everybody can hear me. We're back today, and we are. I was going to try to make ice caves. This is like this crazy idea I had, um, and I'm not sure if I can do it, but I thought it might be good to have a chance. Cool, cool. Um, why don't we start out? I did a lot of work on the lagoon last night, and it came together really well. In the end, it was a lot more work than I thought it would have been. So it would have been a very, very long stream because it was hours and hours of getting into work. But it turned out good in the end, and I'll do a flyby to show you how that turned out. Um, let's go. Let's do this. Cool. So I took a different strategy with the water. Let me fly out there. Different strategy with the water than I had before. I think last time we had the water kind of like randomly placed in the world, and I decided I wanted to be a little bit more deliberate with it. I appreciate all the love out here. This is it's I'm so excited to be redoing this, and it's great that there's people that are excited about it, and I'm glad I could do this for you after all this time. So if you're new here, I'm gonna do a bunch of boring stuff on the computer, uh, maybe punctuated by seeing some cool stuff. And if you have questions for me, you can ask them. Originally, when I was gonna do these, I was just gonna open up a live feed while I was working, but I think that would just be like so boring because making games is really kind of a slow process. This is me getting ahead of our world builder, and you can kind of see where the what's going on in the world down there. Let's let it catch up with us. John is going to make that faster eventually, so it won't be a problem. And most likely, you won't be flying around the world like this. Um, I also changed our Perlin noise generator this morning, so I actually want to just take an extra look to make sure that um, nothing is out of place. Um, the world is mostly generated with something that's called Perlin noise, which is like actually I have an example of it right here. This is Perlin noise. It's a type of predictable noise where little patterns will show up in the same place all the time, and you can do a lot of magical stuff with this. And I would say that like 90% of the structures in the game are built with Perlin noise. There's also another type of noise called I get it wrong. That's actually spelled wrong. It's Veroni noise, which is good for some other stuff, but it's not as useful as Perlin noise. Perlin noise goes way, way, way back in computer graphics. Back when I think if I might be getting the history wrong, but I think it was when they were making Tron, the movie. There was a guy who invented it. But everything around here is built with noise. I wrote a noise generator for like a real estate game or something that I was going to make back in like 2008. And it's just funny that this Perlin noise generator has been carried from project to project to project and is part of the whole world. And funny enough, today I found like a problem with it, and I went to correct it. And when I corrected it, the whole world looked completely different. So I just went back with the. It's not a bug. It's just sort of like a mathematical error. Um, but it is totally responsible for the whole world. So this is the. Oh, you know what? So here's the water. When John set the water up, he set it up as slime because we don't have the water in yet. It's just stand-in. And actually, it's kind of cool because you can kind of see our slime. This is the alien slime, and it moves around now, and it lights things up. So if we went underground here, you can see that the whole world has been lit up by the alien slime. This will be one of the cool things that you'll see in the new CastleMiner game is that with the ray trace lighting, there will be really cool lighting effects that come from other blocks and things around. But what I got here is that I got the water to sort of like trace out the edges of these ponds, but do it in a random way. Um, and I think it looks better than it just being random. Because yesterday we had just random noise placed in different parts of the world. So there's still sandy areas that you can walk across. Actually, I think we busted into the desert here. It's cool to see this stuff light up the underside of a cave here. There's but there's still sandy areas, but the water comes in like sort of predictable places, which I think ends up looking better. And when the water is like cool, unreal looking, reflective, shiny, transparent water, it'll look so cool. Like here's another little area here. Um, but it was actually I actually had to like redo the whole lagoon to get this to show up in a controllable, predictable way. Uh, Man, like a little area with lit up by slime would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Because you could see like even at the top of these things, you see them reflecting. I'll take a couple seconds here to read through the comments. Oh, this is an interesting comment. Somebody's asking here if the crash sites in the descent are gonna still be there. I embarrassingly enough, I wasn't aware that that was even happening, and it was totally a bug. I actually took it out. Like I said through all of this, oh, it's nighttime. It's coming, and we're seeing everything glow. Uh, as um, as I've been doing this, I've been making sure that I maintain the original Castle Miner world as accurately as possible, but we've also been building a new one alongside of it. So what I did was I kept the crash sites in the descent because they float in the air. It's like it looks kind of goofy, and now because the world is so deep, they'll be floating like way up in the air. I kept them, but when I redid my new version of the world, I did actually take those out. The crash sites only appear in they'll stop in the Arctic. The crash sites also are much bigger than they were before, and there's fewer of them because you used to be able to see them sort of everywhere. Let me see if I can find one. I know that there's one. What's funny is this we use the same exact world for for testing, and you start to like learn your way around it. And I'm pretty sure there's a crash site over here somewhere. Yeah, somebody's asking. This is not the real water. This is just a stand-in block for. I was using ice as a stand-in, but last night, I switched to our stand-in. It's hard to explain. Our stand-in water. And when John set this up, he set it up as space goo. A lot of times when you're doing game development, you don't want stand-in assets to look good. You want them to be like really obvious that they have to be replaced. So I think he took the most obnoxious thing possible to use for water so that I could build the world builder out with it. But I wanted to make sure I put it in so that like things like the caves shouldn't penetrate the water, and that was going on with other things. It'd be actually kind of funny to walk around in this world and see where what else was lit up by space goo. There is I know there's an oasis, oh, a big oasis over here on this side. And again, the world building algorithm isn't done yet. So for in the actual game, here, well, these are easy to find at night. There's this very distinctive double palm tree here. So It's cool though. You can see like the underside of that tree being lit up. Um, that this is one of the things that Unreal is going to get us is just really excellent lighting. Somebody here is asking. This is a question that we keep getting is what platforms the game is going to release on. I would like the game to be on as many platforms as possible, and now because we're using Unreal, this is actually really easy for us to do. In the past, the problem was that the game was written in XNA for the Xbox, and it only kind of worked on the Xbox. So in that time period, I tried to bring it to other platforms, but there were problems doing that, and it would have required a complete rewrite of the game, and we would have had to update them separately. So it would have been a big problem. But the goal always was to do a rewrite in another engine, and we originally had tried using Unity as an engine, but what we ended up with was something that was very similar looking to the game that we had originally, and I really wanted the remaster to be something that was like visually impressive. So we went with Unreal, and I've been pretty happy with it so far. Like the stuff that we've seen in Unreal is pretty amazing, and there's still a lot of really amazing stuff that I haven't shown you yet because it's not ready. Um, but when I roll that stuff out, I guarantee you're going to be so amazed. This is only like 10% right here. I think I found my way back to the biomes. I'm gonna go across. I'm just gonna do this a little bit longer, and I'm gonna see if I can find a crash site somewhere. They're harder to find, but they're much bigger now. Weird is I've actually seen these before because I've been out here so many times. Like for so many hours I've spent in the desert building this stuff that this way. I was gonna save the aurora for a surprise later. The aurora is only gonna happen when you're in the Arctic and on clear nights. But here we are. As you can see, uh, the crash sites are a little bit harder to find than they were before. It's funny because I felt like in the original game it should have been more rare. I thought that like it was something that you would stumble across like every once in a while, but they were so abundant that you could just kind of walk out of the start area and find one. Um, the oases, on the other hand, seem to be way more common. It's one of the hardest things in a world like this is to get the distribution um, right for things. Get things to appear in places that you want them to appear, and then only as often as you want them. And I think this is probably. Oh, here we go. Well, it's night time, but the sun's coming up, so we can watch a sunrise over the in the desert under. Oops, on an alien crash site. Somebody's asking here. Let's just pop up a little bit, get a view. Yeah, so the crash sites are bigger. There's just less of them, and they're a little bit harder to come across. But when you do, there should be a lot of space go inside. I also worked on the underside of these things a lot. I should have. This was before I was streaming. I could have done a stream of the underside. Let me turn on my light. I tried to make the space between the the mothership and the ground a little cooler. And the other thing was I didn't in the old world, since the new world, if you're new here, the new world is very deep in comparison to the old world. So in the old world, I was limited by space, and I think these usually hit Bloodstone. Like this was kind of the distance of the whole world from the top to the bottom of one of these things, and I was kind of limited to what I could do. I got the bottom of the caverns looking a little bit more natural and rough. I thought that would be fun with the aliens running around here. That this might be kind of cool. But I'm gonna start like if I start going through caves, we can see it's not a good one. How much deeper the world actually is. So let's do that. And I'm going down still, down. No more caves. Let's see if we can explore this one a little bit. Down. I'm playing with the idea of having a different rock type as you get down deeper. Uh, and we're still going down. Finding some copper down here. Let's see if we got another. Like as you can see, the world is so much bigger and deeper than it was before. Let's. So there's a lava block. Let's turn off our lights. We'll get a nice, cool view of the lava block, how it lights everything up. Somebody's asking if the Hell Lord's hitbox is going to be fixed. Absolutely not. We're going to make sure that it's completely broken in the new thing. And most likely, there will be there will be probably different enemies in general, or there'll be versions that we haven't really decided what to do with that yet. Someone's asking about the Illumination new engine. Yes, we are using Unreal Engine 5.5, the absolute newest engine that there is, and it definitely has the most powerful lighting effects. And we're using real-time ray tracing for everything. So I think that when all the lighting and stuff comes together, you will be absolutely amazed at what it looks like. And what I want to do is I want to make it look like the old CastleMiner, but just really high fidelity. I have totally lost my bearings, and I don't know which way is up or down now. Let's drop to the floor and see. Okay. So now we're getting down deeper into the caves. We're still going down. Um, and now we're seeing, I think this is iron on the walls. No, it's still copper. It's copper, but it's reflecting the light from the lava. That's interesting. But you can see how deep it is. Oh, copper, coal. Oh, there's some iron. The ores are different. I made the ores look different now, so you can tell them apart easily. So the copper has kind of like these jagged shapes, and the iron is more looks like rust, and it's got like little chunks in it, but it's pretty much the same thing. So, but we're still not. Oh, some diamonds back here. There we go. Let's go deeper. Like we still have not hit the bottom yet. We're still going through caves. Up and finally we hit it. We can bust into hell. And here's the hell. Obviously the background is not right. That's still standing, but this is the new hell. Um, and and here we are at the bottom, and I don't even know how I would get back up right now because that would be a long way up. But it's much deeper world. Um, and somebody's asking here about will the lava and water flow? The well, you can see this is the lava's new here. Of course, this is standing. This will end up looking better in the end. It also lights things up, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we're gonna. The plan is to move the water from CastleMiner Warfare, which had flowing water, into CastleMiner Z, and that's why we've put water on the surface now. The thing I have to figure out, I have to hear from John, is if it'll flow like waterfalls, and if it does, I'll probably put him on the top of the lagoon so that it'll like flow down. Someone's asking if it's coming to Xbox. The plan is yes. Microsoft ultimately has to approve it. So if it doesn't come to Xbox, that will be the reason. That will be the reason why, not because we couldn't put it there. But Unreal is makes it very easy to move to Xbox and PlayStation, and we just kind of just have to hit a button and make that happen. The rest of it is really kind of up to them on whether they will let us do that. But it's I've been part of their independent developer program for a long time, and so I have a relationship with them, and I have not put a game on the ID program yet, but I I don't think it'll be a problem. We will definitely launch to Steam first, though. Let's go back up. Let's see what's go back up to the surface. You again can see like the depth of the new world. I recorded myself putting the Oasis together last night. Wow, this is a big cave. Oh, we're back up in the alien crash. Wow, that was lucky that we found our way right back up there. Yeah. Somebody here is asking if I can. Let me do that. Post a link to the Discord channel. The community has a Discord channel that they've been running, and it's fantastic. It's their channel. It's not mine. Uh, and I'm there like all day long. So watch me do this wrong again. Hitting this to the top. I'm on the Discord channel. I'm on the Discord channel all the time. I'm usually posting screenshots, and if you want to have, if you have suggestions and stuff, that's a great place to put it. There's a really great community under there, and the guys that have been running it have been doing a great job. They've been doing it for a really long time. I posted a link to this up at the top of the channel. Um, yeah, somebody here is asking about crossplay. Like we are so not at that point yet. Like we are, we have a small team. It's the original people making the game, and we're really just trying to pull the game up right now. And right now, our goal is to just sort of establish what it's going to look like. So I've been concentrating mostly on the world building stuff. We have somebody else that's concentrating on the engine, the block engine, and somebody else that's concentrating on the lighting. And the three of us are all kind of working together to get this together to just understand what the game looks like. And then our next goal is to get player mechanics in there, and hopefully, each stage of this will be an improvement in the same way that you've seen the improvement over the block thing right now. So people keep asking if it's a like a version 2, if it's a remake, if it's a remaster. It's to me, I want to preserve the original game as close as possible, but just kind of like make it a little bit better. Like just like fix the things that should have been fixed, add the things that should have been added, make it look absolutely beautiful, um, and put it together. Somebody's asking what the characters are going to be like, and I'll be honest with you, we don't know yet, and we've had a lot of talks about this. Uh, Anything that would say about this would end up being probably not true in the end. So I'm reluctant to say, like I said before, I don't like to say things unless it's like absolutely true that things are going to happen. But we don't know. I know that we've been looking at redesigning the characters. We looked at uh, putting the original characters in and dressing up the original characters, but I don't really know what it's going to be. But I don't want to lose the essence of the original game, so it's not like I'm gonna like get rid of all the characters and replace them with new ones. I'm going to try to put. Oh, this person's asking about the character, your player character, not the enemies. Um, yeah, I was talking about the enemies. Like with the characters are going to be new. That's the one part of it that I can guarantee is going to be new. I in the last stream I talked about this that there was kind of like this legacy. Like we started with the Xbox avatars. We can't have the Xbox avatars in the games now, and we replaced that eventually with the SWAT guy. But the SWAT guy was like short and stubby because he had to like match the skeleton of the avatars. And what I always said is my feeling about the game was that it was Navy SEALs fighting dragons. Like that was the thing that I wanted. So there'll probably be a new player character to start with, and he'll probably be looking like kind of paramilitary looking. It would be like futuristic paramilitary, but I don't know yet. Um, the This is kind of what I was going for with the SWAT guys, but it really didn't. I never liked it. It never really came off the right way. Um, and I don't know why everything's glowing. That's weird. Like, um, but yeah, the player characters, and then a lot of people are concerned about customization. Uh, and if the game is received well and we have the ability to do that, that's something that's like a stretch goal for us. But I think that like our on the last stream, our art director was here, and what he said was that building a character customization system is like equivalent of like half a game. That was one of the really great things about the Xbox is that the Xbox provided this really cool character customization system for free, and it allowed us to not have to make a character. So it was like a benefit to us. So the time that we would have spent making a character or a customizable character, which is even harder, we could spend doing other things. But now it's the opposite that we would have to come up with a system that replaces the characters. That we would have to do the work to replace the characters. A lot of people here are asking for the story to the game. Um, yeah, I think it would be kind of cool to have like a little backstory. It's funny to me that you guys are so interested in that. It's not like when I created the game. Usually when I created games, it was more about like atmosphere versus story, and I always had this feeling of sort of like, again, like Navy SEALs fighting dragons. Them, walking through caves together and hand signaling and stuff. And if I could do my dream trailer, it would look something like that. Okay, let's. I'm gonna try doing this cave thing. I'm really skeptical if I could make this to work. My thought was to get the caves to sort of come out of the ground, and then line them with, and if I could get them to do that, I could put like cave entrances in the desert, which I thought would be kind of cool. So there would be like these spots where the rocks kind of came out of the ground and like let you go into a cave. Um, and then if I could do that, I could definitely change what the caves were made out of. And I thought it would be cool in the mountains and in the Arctic to have the caves, like these kind of ice caves, come out of the ground. Because I think in the end, the ice is going to look really cool. We have plans for that. And like with Unreal, we can do transparency really well. So having like shiny, transparent ice that caves were made out of would be really cool. I'm gonna pop over here really fast since I'm out here to the place where the desert meets the oh, here we go, another beautiful sunset coming up over the space goo. Where the desert meets the mountains, because I want to show you how the new transitions look. I know we did a little of this in the last stream, but I happened to be out here, and at this time of day, the mountains end up looking pretty cool. But you can see it's like there used to be like kind of a line, but now the mountains kind of grow out of the ground at this point. Um, but giving you a good sense. Then snow starts to form inside of them, and the same thing kind of happens in the Arctic in the opposite way. Someone's asking if the avatars can come back on the Xbox. I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't think avatars are like a thing anymore on the Xbox, but I could be wrong about that. Obviously, I can't bring back the avatars if they're not available to put in games anymore. I'm with you. I miss it. I made so many Avatar games. I loved the avatars. I loved the fact that you could like play this as like a stormtrooper. I thought that was super cool. It would be great if Microsoft supported that again, but I actually don't even know if they do. And I haven't seen them, so I'm not sure that it happens. Somebody's given props to CastleMiner Warfare here, and um, I have to like just say thank you for that. It's funny, all for all of us, CastleMiner Warfare has this very like sweet spot for us, and it did not do well. And it was interesting to me because CastleMiner Warfare, and I could be wrong about this, it came out like before Fortnite, and I think Murder Miners came out before us, but it was we actually had it done. We were sitting on it, and when we were making CastleMiner Warfare, we thought like, man, building and combat at the same time, this is going to be so fun. And nobody wanted to play CastleMiner Warfare, so I that's one of the games I would love to remake CastleMiner Warfare. Just the box cover of CastleMiner Warfare, I just thought it turned out so well. Um, but it was, but yeah, it just wasn't received well, and we never really understood why, because it was sort of like what people were were playing at the time. Um, but it is what it is. But yeah, everybody that when we worked on Castle Miner Warfare, we were like, wow, this is just fun. This is just a great idea. This is so fun. So I appreciate the somebody coming out and saying that. Okay, well let's play with the caves a little bit. Uh, So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by making, I think I'm going to start by making the caves really visible. Like I'm going to let them come out of the ground and see what that looks like before I go any further into doing it, like the existing caves. Because I think I'll end up having like a new cave system. The caves are like the most expensive thing to compute in all of this. So if this doesn't really benefit us, then I probably can't do it. And I'm not sure it's going to make it into the game. Um, So if I do, let's make them out of ice instead. So that'll be the first thing we'll do. He's asking about the original Castle Miner game. The original Castle Miner game did really well on the Xbox, and I kind of felt like it didn't really do anything like new, but bringing back the CastleMiner worlds into this game would actually be really easy because like the code right in here is the code for like the original CastleMiner games. Like there's one of them that's called like what is it called? There's the ocean. No, not the ocean. The coastal builder here, and that's the original CastleMiner world where there was like the water and the coasts and stuff like that. When we went to CastleMiner Z, I didn't want to turn CastleMiner Z into just another building game, so I was very very specific about what I left in and took out of. We just forked CastleMiner and started building it, and I was very specific about what we did and didn't put in the game. I just pulled out everything that wasn't like essential to the game. But it's funny because we've maintained, and this code has been moved several times, and now it's been converted into C++ for. John did this for us for the world builder, but it's all the original CastleMiner world. So it is possible that we could roll a CastleMiner world, or we could have a like a hidden section of the big world be CastleMiner, which might be a good Easter egg. Like the CastleMiner worlds could be like in the game someplace if you traveled far away and you knew where you were going. Here we go. Okay, so we were looking at the caves. Yes, and we did this already. I should be able to run, and now the caves should be filled with ice, and this gives you an idea of where the cave system is like in the game. Uh, And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have the caves extend out of the land to see what that looks like. So to do that, we do we only put the caves in rock, I believe. Yeah, if we get rid of this, it'll just put the caves everywhere. Hopefully did not do that. So let's figure out why. I forget to build. It's really, no. Oh, we gotta rebuild it. The world. There we go. Okay, so now we have cave. This is if the caves just kept extending out of into the land. Uh, somebody here is asking about the Kickstarter. I should post a link to the Kickstarter on the page. It is likely that we will run the Kickstarter at some point. Um, and what you can do right now is you could follow it. I put the link here for that. And if you haven't already, just click the little button on here. I'll bring the Kickstarter up on the page. Hit the little bit button that says notify me on launch, and this gives us an idea about how many people are interested in this. And when this goes up, like anything that you any support you can give us, we'd appreciate. This isn't something that we've done before, but having that work out for us would end up letting us do a lot more with the game than we would have been able to do before. But one of the things I'd like to say is that coming to our streams right now is the like the most important thing that you could do for us. I've told the story I think on every stream is that I lost my monetization on YouTube a while back. I just need watch hours. So if you guys are here, like just and you want to support us, the best way you can do this is just sort of like click on either these streams or the old streams and let them play, and give us some watch hours, and hopefully we can get over that threshold and get and get that back. But even if you're just sitting in front of a computer and you're wasting time, just like throw open one up and throw it in the corner or something like that. Um, Somebody's asking here about what's our plan with CastleMiner going forward. I have somebody on staff right now that is very, very experienced at doing live ops for games, and our plan is to have some sort of live ops going forward. And I found out in the last stream that live ops has a dirty connotation to it. What I mean by this is a consistent stream of like new content, events that happen in the world, of like things that happen during the game, like things that keep people engaged constantly. The person I have doing this is like a really, really great person doing it. So if the game is successful, if there's people that are playing it, then we can continue to support it. So get the word out there, because that's going to be the big thing. Like if the game comes out and people are playing it, then it'll be very easy for us to support it. So here, there's an interesting question. Somebody's asking here if DNA and J-Force ever collaborated in the 360s days. The thing I tell the story about those days is that we were all really good friends. We all talked behind the scenes. It was like the best way I could describe it was like friendly competition. Like we were definitely very competitive. You couldn't get somebody to talk about what they were making or when they were releasing it. That was one of the things that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to take there was like four developers on there that were like really significant publishers there, and there was us, there was J-Force, there was Lighthouse Games, definitely DJ Arcus, and the guy who made Total Miner, and us and Lighthouse would produce a lot of games. DJ Arcus and like Fortress Craft and Total Miner just they kind of just kept doing updates on their products, which was great. I always wanted to get to the point where we could have all talked and like decided like when to release things, because it would have made things a little bit easier for all of us, but we never got to that level of trust. But I talked to all of them behind the scenes, and I talked to them continuing after. We've done like I did some cross promotion stuff with Total Miner. I know that there was a couple of years ago they were trying to get through Steam Greenlight, and it was difficult to get through Steam Greenlight back then, and we did some cross promotion there to help them go through Steam Greenlight. That guy is from New Zealand. I had the opportunity to meet him in person one time. It was really great. It was just like such a friendly, excellent meeting. Like I think that back then, I think people thought we were like hostile to each other, but we were all kind of like the same person, and we were also very friendly to each other. I talked to J-Force right when they released Murder Miners back on the Xbox. That was the last time I spoke to them. We never did a collaboration, but they were always very helpful and very friendly to us. So that system, I miss the Xbox Live indie game system a lot, because the community there was really, really great. And I feel like there was like three different communities. There was like, first of all, there was like the Microsoft top-down community, which was like the MVPs and the people that were administering the system. They were good-natured, but I don't think they really understood the system really well. There was sort of like a clique of developers that made kind of like niche retro games, and then there was like, I would say 4 or 5 like serious like developers on there. They were usually people who had been in the game industry for a while, and in that clique, we were very very close and talked a lot behind the scenes. Um, yeah, somebody said talking about Total Miner. Total Miner was a great game. There were so many great games on XBLIG. I used to give talks at places after I'd done the Xbox thing for a while, and I just talked about there was just so many great games on there. It was just such a great system. I've never seen a system that was so that was so well done again. Everything from the platform to the platform, the way that the quantity of games that came out, it was just sort of like just the right thing. And a lot of people complained about the review system, and I have so many like funny stories about the review system. But and everybody kind of like hated it, but what it did was it kept the system kind of like going smoothly. And as much as I don't want to admit it, like it really made that system work. And you saw the systems that came out after that, like Steam Greenlight was kind of a mess, and we had issues with that. And then when the bar dropped for that stuff, there was no curation. Like there was junk that was coming out constantly, and it was hard um, when you have so many games that are coming out so fast. What it makes it hard to do is to be a small indie, to be a developer that just makes um, a developer that just makes like small games. Like the original games that I really liked making were things like our like Avatar Paintball. Like though, like that game was like I made that game completely by myself. It was fun to make, and it did relatively well, and people liked it. And I think that that was the best balance for an indie platform. And I just have never really found that again in another platform. I never, somebody's saying here that you used to be able to like do Bing searches and get points to buy games. I never really realized that. That's funny. I always thought it was interesting that the way that Microsoft, it was another key part of the Xbox 360 system was that if you bought, you had to buy credits in bulk, and when you were done buying them, you had a little bit left over, and that money was like the perfect amount to buy um, like a game from the indie store. And I thought it was kind of like a cool setup. I don't, maybe not if you were the one buying the credits. Let's see what we can do here. Let's make the caves. Let's make these a little wider, and then see if we can cut a hole in the middle of them, and then we'll bring them back down to the surface. And this is just a test to see if this is like a interesting thing to do. So what I'm gonna do here is if I adjust this value and make it bigger, I should get bigger caves. That actually might be way too much. Unfortunately, there's no good way to like mathematically model this stuff. You kind of everything is done by trial and error, and that was why this morning when I changed the Perlin noise function, the world looked different. I had to roll it back because there would be no way for us. I think we went the opposite direction. These actually became thinner. Yeah, there was no way that I could go back and retune, like years and years and years of doing this. And like for the last, at least for the last week or two, and this is so reminiscent of the original CastleMiner games, is that I've been sitting here over and over and over again for hours, running the world over and over again, adjusting values, trying to get everything to look right, because there really isn't a better way to do that. The whole world is a mathematical function. Uh, Yeah. So, okay, this is thicker caves, and let's just see if we can knock. I think we have to go actually thicker than that. Um, somebody's saying here that they're talking about Avatar Paintball, Avatar Warfare, and Avatar Laser Wars. That we had made your childhood. I that you don't understand how happy that makes me. Um, I started making games when I was 5 years old, and I did it all through my childhood. And at that time, there wasn't really a place that people could see your games. And then while I was in high school, I started making a game that was similar to Mortal Kombat. And then I started making a game like that with this guy named Doc Mack, who actually runs the biggest arcade in the world now. It's in Chicago. It's called Galloping Ghost Arcade. The two of us, when I was about 19 years old, started making a, uh, a a fighting game. There's actually on YouTube, if you search the channel, I have a video of the first fighting game that I made where we were filmed in it ourselves. Um, but anyways, the, we were trying to make this fighting game in the 1990s, and somebody told us like, "Hey, you guys should just give up." Travelers, yeah, somebody said that's Travelers. If you search for, yeah, you know what I'll actually do is I'll put the link to that in the. This was actually it's not the first game I made. This is like actually one of the first like real games I made. It was one of the funnest things ever. We went to a. I got a very limited space here, so I'm like looking around stuff to get it. Yeah, here it is. Uh, yeah, let me bring. Actually, let me bring it up. This is trying to like figure out how to use YouTube. Um, it was the first real game that I made, and it was we spent like a summer and we built a little studio in my basement, and we filmed ourselves doing all the moves. I actually I was a huge fan of Mortal Kombat, and I got to work with John Tobias at one point at his company, and I have actually a really funny story about that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this was we spent a summer doing this, and we made this little fighting game. The video's up on my channel. This game was lost for like 30 years, and some old friend that I had, uh, that's actually me in the silver. Some old friend that I had found the game, and I resurrected it, and I took some video of it and put it on YouTube, so at least it existed somewhere. I was the yeah. Um, but I was a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and back in the early 2000s, I was working for John Tobias's company, and I had swear there was a secret in Mortal Kombat about the Kano transformation, and I swear I had saw it one night somewhere. It's a long story, but I it's funny because I cornered John Tobias in his office one afternoon, and I was like, "Tell me the truth. Like, is the was the Kano transformation real?" um, because there were so many urban legends about it. Uh, he told me it wasn't. I would love to just say it was, just to further the rumors, but like he confirmed that it absolutely wasn't. Everybody, everybody here is really concerned about when the game is coming out. Believe me, I am concerned myself. I can't give a date out because I don't know, but the hope is that it's measured in months, not measured in years. That's the goal for all of us. I have this rare opportunity that everybody who worked on the Castle Miner game is like working on this again, and I have like a limited amount of time, so we're trying to make the most of that time. Let me see if I can get holes inside the caves. So this is the old caves inside of like shells, it should look like. I don't know if I succeeded in this. Did I do that right? Are these hollow? In that I'm hoping for like hollow tubes. If I can't get the hollow tubes, oh no, then not going to be able to get the caves. Wow, that actually makes more sense. I've never actually tried doing this before. I've never actually tried getting something inside the caves. It's funny, I'm capping the height of these, otherwise the caves would actually go up. You know what I'll do? I'll show you this, because this will show you the height of the world. Um, the world is actually really, really tall. Before we were always pushing up against the max build height, so despite the caves being so deep, I remember doing this with the tower, and I was amazed at how tall the tower was nowadays. I think I'm missing the saves here when I run. Yeah. So we're at the top of this right now. But if I started going down, let's see if we'll find the land. In fact, the generator, because the caves are really expensive to build, the generator is still um, generating stuff, and it's a little bit slow right now. You can start seeing and there really isn't a good way to, besides flying through this, to see there. I think we're finally starting to see ground now. So this is all, yeah. Nope, we're still not. Okay, finally we've hit the ground here. Let everything catch up. But you could see if I went to the ground and started going up, like aside from the world being deep, the build height is very, very tall. It's as tall as it is deep. But this could easily be some sort of cloud world that you found yourself on. Somebody's asking here why there's a time crunch, and the this is an important thing. Is the after Death Toll, people kind of went off and did their separate things, and everybody kind of had to do what they had to do. Um, and I was trying to pull this together for a long time, and people have their own lives and they're busy, but it just happened to be that like the people that that were doing this with me originally just all became available at the same time, and I just don't know, like, um, not everybody has the ability to work on an indie game full time. Like people everybody's working on this full time, and it kind of requires that because it's a big game for 3 or 4 people to make. Um, so uh, they can't do that forever unless the game is very successful. If the game is successful, then this will be kind of what everybody's doing after this. So really, on some level, our fate is in your hands because um, I know that everybody would rather be doing this, and if they could be doing it, then that would be great. But it really comes down to the success of the game. Reading through the comments here. Okay, let me give one more chance at getting these caves to be hollow. See, what I'd like to do is make these thicker and then make them hollow. Uh, and if I can do that, then I can. This will be interesting to watch. Otherwise, I'll probably just do this after the stream and pick it up on a different one because for a lot of this stuff, the math gets complicated and it ends up being like 2 hours of me staring at a screen, intensely concentrating on stuff, and it's actually kind of hard to do here, and it's definitely not fun to watch. So, what I remember is the lava is kind of deposited like this. So I just want to look really fast at. I think it's in the ore depositor. Actually, is the place where the lava gets dropped. This is the ore depositor code. Yeah, surface lava. No, that's done in a different way. Attempt here before. I've been on here for about an hour or so, and I think that put the limit back in there too. Like building this up to this to the sky is not going to help us. I think somebody's asking here is if I'm a fan of the game or I'm a dev. I'm 100% the guy who made this game. Um, there was I don't want to take away credit from anyone. There was like 3 or 4 of us that made it back in the day. But I started Digital DNA Games myself. I made most of the early games completely by myself. I brought on John and Jackie at one point, and then Heinz did a lot of the shooters. Heinz was our art director. Um, A lot of doodling usually when I do this, but it would be about the least fun thing ever to. Oh, we did it. There we go. These are hollow. Yes. Okay, so this, I think, unless we made them bigger, which I could work on, I think is the best way, but the essence of it is there. Um, and you should be able to like follow these down. Yeah. And they're closed off because they're too small, but just making them a little bit bigger would be the way to solve that. In fact, we could try doing that right now. Somebody's asking if we want to do something else with the tower. I do want to do something else with the tower. I haven't quite figured out what it is yet, but obviously that like something should happen with the tower. Um, I think if I drop these numbers, this one I think is the one. Get wider. I think they got more narrow. Yeah, we got to go the other direction. Go with what we had before, but let's cap this off at the. Again, we're just trying to get an idea of what this could look like. Instead of actually trying to get it to work. Uh, This is probably what we're looking close, at least to what we're looking for. I just don't know why the whole world. Um, there should have been a cap to the top of this. Interesting is it's working. It's just that these openings got to be cut off. And if I could do this, this is great because it means I can make cave openings on the surface. I just don't understand why it's so we're going to the ceiling still. Somebody's asking here why we chose the avatars on the original, and they're asking would it have been easier for us to create character models for the game? So it's the exact opposite. First of all, there's two reasons we picked the avatars for the ones. One of them is that people liked playing games with their avatars back then, so we gave people what they wanted. As a side benefit, using the avatars made it so that we didn't have to make our own characters. And it's interesting is we actually shared a lot of the animations between our games. So a lot of the gun animations came from Avatar Laser Wars. The laser weapons came from Laser Wars. So we were able to share characters and animations. Particularly the avatars, they gave you the character, but they didn't give you the animation. So you'd have to make your own animations. Um, but it made things so much easier, and I would love if there was another avatar system like that that existed right now where like indie games could just pick up an avatar and there was an avatar somewhere else, but it's like that doesn't really exist anymore. But no, it made it so much easier because designing a character and animating and everything is actually a lot of work. From the top, you can actually see that these are hollow. Like you can get a look. So that there's the it's like the tower. It's like the tower coming out from the clouds. It's kind of cool. Um, and what I want to do is I just want to get this to be just over the ground level. And that's going to be too hard to do here because now I realize I would have to do this one more shot. We can do this. Would have to do this in the world builder itself. There's no in the place where I build the world, so we could try doing that. Let's take this code, drop it in the. Oh, it's right down here. That's cool. We'll just drop it right down into here, and we will put the caves back to the way they were. Um, I just remember all these values. Make sure we have that right. Actually, this may dig the caves out above us too. There should be caves. This thing probably filled the caves out, and yeah. Um, and one more shot at this. Now that it's in here, we could do this. These will kind of like track the ground. Uh, we started talking about this. Somebody asked here about how long we've been working on this already. We started talking about this seriously in November, and it was like just in like late December that we started seriously working on it. Got everyone on board. In general, we do things pretty fast. I think the original CastleMiner game took like maybe 2 months to make, and then the CastleMiner Z took 2 months after that. So this is when I was selling this to the guys I was working with. I was telling them this. I was like, hey, the original project only took, like 6 weeks to make. We should be able to do this. Um, but we're being very careful since it's like, not an experimental game and uh, it's something that people hold dear to their heart. We're trying to be really careful with what we release. Hey, that is totally a face there. I'm sorry. I have this thing where I just see faces in the rocks all the time. Like this thing is talking to me. Like, hey, how you doing? Um, I don't know. I think with a little tuning, I think this could work. I think that in the Arctic, this and I was thinking about doing something similar to this in the desert where there's cave openings. So, because what I'm looking for here is this right here, this like where there's like a cave opening that opens up into the side of things, like even on flat ground. Uh, Not so crazy about the upside down openings, but we just bump one more test here. See, if this was me by myself, this would be 4 hours of me tuning this, and this is what I'll do later tonight, and then I'll make another video. Yeah, I like it. These are ice caves, and you can imagine if the ice looked really cool, and I mean obviously not here, but you could control this and make ice caves out of this. So I think I'm gonna go with this. I think I'm gonna spend some more time, and I'm gonna try to put this in a couple different places. I'm thinking in the desert because there's not much stuff in the desert, and maybe in the Arctic because the Arctic is a little plain too. But a little tuning, and I think these actually would come out. They all have like the little kind of cave openings. Like this is a good one up here. It just needs to be bigger. So yeah, I would say that's a success. I had oh, there's another face right there. You see it right there. Um, I was really skeptical going into this stream that I'd be able to get something that looked like this, but it turned out way better than I thought I did. Um, and you can see with a little tuning that this would actually turn out great. So I'm going to wrap things up here. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to ask questions if you want, and then I'm going to take off. And I really, before I do this, I just appreciate everybody showing up to do this. This helps us a lot right now. Like like I said, the most supportive thing you can do right now to us is come and like watch the streams and watch our videos because I'm trying to get the watch hours on YouTube built up. But so I really appreciate you coming in here. I really appreciate the feedback and the support everybody's been given. It's so fun for all of us to work on a project where people are actively interested in what we're doing versus trying to get people's attention. So we appreciate I read just about everything. I don't always comment on everything, but I read just about everything, and I just really appreciate the enthusiasm. So a couple more minutes for questions. Like, did anyone have desert pyramids? That is a really great idea. Wow. And that would be so easy. I'm going to write that one down. And that gives you an idea for like a special enemy in there too. So I'm gonna play around with I'm gonna play around with doing pyramids. Yeah, like that's the problem with our world generator is things we can't generate things that are really big, but maybe that's something we could change. Somebody asked here if it's coming to consoles. Hopefully it will. Like we're doing it on Unreal. Unreal um, helps us get like lets us put this onto the consoles easily. So if they let us be there, we'll be there. Um, I appreciate this. Um, yeah, saying here that they can't donate directly to the project. Like I would. I don't. I've never really asked for crowdfunding or anything before. The best thing that you guys could do is like I always say two things. Like watch our videos right now, support the game. Comments, likes, subscribes, all of that stuff, and then when the game comes out, play it because that's. I always said instead of a donation, I'd rather have somebody just buying a game and playing it. Yeah. Somebody's asking here about a hunger system. If we had a hunger system, we'd have to have a whole food system. I don't know if that's something I didn't want. I thought about all this stuff in the history of the game, and I didn't really want a system where that was taking away from the combat, where you had to manage a lot of different things. I know some of the games. I don't know if you played any of the games we did after this, but with like Savage Lands was an example of that, where we had there was a whole hunger system in there. In those games, you have to make hunting be a fun thing to do, and it has to be like a major part of your game. Um, but yeah, those are all things we consider. So I appreciate everybody coming by. I'm gonna dip here. Somebody's asking here a question. Did you think you would ever have the number one XBLIG game when you made CM? No, I did not. I always tell people that there's this sort of like rule of tens where you make 10 things, and one thing out of the 10 typically ends up being successful, and it's not the one you predict doing. Um, I thought people would like kind of like Minecraft with assault rifles and zombies, but I didn't realize they'd like it so much. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but the Xbox Live indie game system would every night would tally the sales, and the list that you saw on the Xbox was the list of games that had sold the best from like previously the night before. And from the day CastleMiner went up on there in 2013, maybe 2012. I should look it up. It's 2000, maybe it was 2011. I think it was 2011. Yeah, because it was we did CastleMiner in June, and we did this around November of 2011. It stayed number one until the system shut down. So like kudos to you guys for doing that. Like that game stayed as the number one night over night best-selling title from 2011 up until 2015 when the system shut down. And that isn't like cumulative sales over a long time. That is literally people buying it from the night before. And people still play it on Steam, which is amazing. So like I would love to continue this. All of us involved would love to continue this and make this, support you guys and make the game that you guys always wanted to make or always wanted to play, and the game that we always wanted to make. So I'm gonna work on this. I'll probably come back for another stream tomorrow. Do you guys want to see another stream? Is this worth it, or is this getting boring? And then we'll see where we are and our progress with the game. Thank you very much.